her truth. When she smiles at you, she'll say that angels don't lie.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to this week's Angels Don't Lie. I'm your host, Jeannie Street. Today, I'm talking all about how death doesn't change love. So here is what we're going to talk about. I mean, people believe that our relationships with our loved ones that have departed are over when they die. I see this time and time again through, thousands of readings that I've done where people feel, clients will come in, people that attend the shows, they'll be in a place of complete grief and shutdown, as if the relationship is completely over, as if there's no more love being fed to them. So that's what we're going to kind of demystify today, about how we can feel our loved ones and how this can change our perception and actually really shift our life in a completely new way. Because when we have grief or when we feel isolated and alone, we aren't able to function well. We aren't able to live our best life. It's really pretty sad. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to share some details and some readings that I've done recently, because I think that they will pour a little insight even more into how death doesn't change how people, our loved ones, love us. It doesn't change it. So they continue to support us no matter that they're no longer in the physical realm. So the people will say, like, how is this possible? Well, first, the validating messages that will come through, they offer someone comfort. They offer you peace of mind. They offer you an insight that your loved one is still there. So the personalities that will come through, or little information like of something happening in the family, that's how they'll tell us what's going on, so they can validate that they're still there. So those are really key important points of a reading when we're going through a session and channeling the information, because that's the opening, when you are able to connect with someone and let them know, here's what your loved one's saying, here's who had the birthday party, they're showing me the candles, they'll give me the details. That opens them up. Their heart begins to open, because now they have this complete faith that this is their loved one, because there are details that they aren't known. The next thing is, because my work is really specialized around healing, it's not just about the validating messages, which that is a fun part. I always say that in my group readings. I love being able to do that. It's such a beautiful thing. But the most important part for me is that my work is based around healing. And what that means is we go through life with blocks. We create boundaries where love can't come and fill us up. So these blocks are caused from pains and traumas, emotional issues that we've had throughout our life, things that have happened, experiences, relationships that maybe have broken. I mean, it can be really any number of things that cause us to have a set wall or structure where we don't allow love in. So what happens when we don't allow love in? We usually move further away from religion or God or connection. That's one of the signs. Or we still have our religion, or we become shut off to the miracle moments. And that means we feel like God is punishing us, because one thing after another will happen in our lives and will cause us pain. And we wonder, where is God? Where is He during our time of need? So that also stops the love from flowing in us, because our faith kind of lowers, right? It kind of goes to the backside. We might say we have faith, but we really don't if we're questioning why God is doing this to us, or why me, or why does it seem like my life seems to have one of these recurring things happen and so-and-so doesn't. What we can do about that is plug ourselves back in. We can start to invite love in. There's great news here, right? We don't have to stay with this structured set, this foundation that we created for ourselves where we aren't allowing love in. We can start to take that wall down. I like to envision it. I always envision it as a wall, like bricks. And one healing at a time, you're removing one brick. That's the external, blockage. What that means on the internal part is that you're also creating space each and every time you're offering our forgiveness, each and every time that you're releasing and letting go, each and every time you're staying in the present moment instead of being in the back stories or the old things, right? If you're depressed, if you're run down, if you can't seem to get out of your own past, that's why you're living in the past, which is a painful place to be. And yes, there are actually, all depression isn't based off of that. There is chemical imbalance depression, but most people out there are depressed because they're living in their past. They're living in the stories or the methods, the conditioning in which they've learned to live. And this doesn't just happen overnight. This happens over time. It happens over our whole lifetime, from the time we were really little, the people that we were involved with, and going to school, going into a workplace, going into relationships. So we learn things from all of these areas of our life that offer us ways to think, ways to create habits, ways to work through our stuff or not to. That being said, when we are able to meditate, when we are able to be still, we can address those past issues. And look, I'm not a fan of looking in the past too much, because when you get there, you can really become stuck. It can keep you entrapped, because that's where fear is. Fear wants to grab a hold and have you hang out there, pitch a tent, and let's camp out. Let's stay here in the past, and let's dig in and find out who's responsible for your pain. And let's start blaming, let's start shaming, let's start, creating more walls. Yuck, right? Yuck. You're eating leftovers. Nothing is new and fresh in your life, because when you live in the past, that's how it is. Or the opposite side of that is we're living too far in the future. And you guys, you've heard me talk about this a million times. If you listen to the show, you're living in the past, that's depression. If you're living in the future, that's anxiety. So if we're living too far in the future and we're not able to recognize where love is right here and now, and we're so worried about our plans and making things work, and how's it going to look, and where are we going to go, and what happens, and we start going faster, and we can't breathe. No wonder we're rolling down a hill that we can't see where we're going. So that's where anxiety comes from. Most anxiety, and people that have the borderline of both of depression and anxiety, well, man, they're doing both things, and they're missing the most important thing, which is the present moment. So when we are back here, when we start meditating, when we start digging into ourselves and then leaning into love as we're doing that, we become wide open. We become awakened. And I was talking to my girlfriend about this, because we've been friends for like over 30 years. We had our kids together. We really watched each other evolve and grow. And one of the conversations we were having was, once you are awakened, once you wake up to the truth that nobody's responsible for your crap, like the things that happen to you, yeah, they happen to you, but you needed a lesson. You came here for this lesson, and you have a choice. And the choice is, do I choose to love? Do I choose to forgive? Do I choose to make something better of this situation? Or do I choose to keep it the same and play small? Do I wish to downsize? Do I wish to hide? Do I wish to, continue to blame, shame, whatever that is? Once you're awakened, you're accountable. There's accountability. You don't do that anymore, because you catch yourself. And when you catch yourself, you're like, oh my, oh, look at that. That is not pretty. That's the beautiful part once you start doing it, because when you start catching yourself is when you can actually take action. You have accountability to your soul self because you know what it's like on the other side of that forgiveness. You know you feel good. You know your life looks bright. You know you're no longer blaming or angry. So you've created a freedom of space and more love comes to you. So then new relationships have come to you. And, we talk about abundance coming to us. Well, when we free up space, that's when it can happen. Abundance isn't just money, right, guys? You know this. You've heard me say it a million trillion freaking times, right? Abundance is energy. It's relationships. It's not only money, it's everything. So when we have the healthiness of good coming in, of new relationships, of the wealth of our health, of feeling good, of being able to get out of bed and put our feet on the ground and say, yes, today is a great day, our attitude is abundantly better. Everything then changes. I mean, that's beautiful. So that's, getting a little off topic about what changes when we die and what happens when we lose a loved one. So for our departed loved ones on the other side, these are the messages they keep telling me over and over and over again. They're like, look, Jeannie, it is incredibly healing when you die. You are released of all that pain and shame and drama. You feel really great. Once you're there, we can support our loved ones. We can be the people that we weren't in life. We can actually create change for our loved ones if they'll have us. Isn't that beautiful? They want to love and support you. So during one of my most recent sessions, I had a mother who had departed, and her son came to see me, which for this man, it was definitely not an easy thing for him to show up and come here. It's not his bag, not his norm, but he was in immense pain because his parents passed one after each other. So, within a short period of time, which is so hard, right? You're not even dealing with one death. Now you have to deal with another, and now you have all of the estate to deal with. There's just so much stuff that happens. So his mom came through, and in life, she was really, really struggling. She was, I would say, an empath. I'm going to use that label. I'm not a big fan of labels, but I believe she was an energy sensitive person. And in that tone, she was picking up energy probably her whole life and felt like she had negative energy with her. I'll say it that way. So she struggled a whole bunch. And she had trauma in her life. So she actually showed me, she explained to me how she died and what happened. She said, Jeannie, I wasn't in pain. And what happened, what looked like pain to everybody else, was me standing in front of this beautiful, like huge white doorway. And it opened and this light came rushing in and healed me. And I walked forward and I was at peace and I was loved and I was healed immediately. I mean, it was breathtaking what she was showing me. And I was explaining this to her son and he is crying. This man who's rough around the edges and works really hard for his money and not something he's going to normally do is go to a medium, but he's in pain, and so he's sitting there and he's allowing himself to cry. That's a miracle moment. And his mom validated his pain. His mom showed up for him and said, this is how it was for me, so you can be free of worrying that I suffered. You can know that I'm at peace. And then she started to talk about God. She started to tell him about how to connect with God, how to stay in that alignment, because it wasn't something she did here on earth. She didn't actively seek that type of energy. So, right, we talk about this again on the show about religion. Well, this isn't about religion, but it is very much so about your intimate relationship with God. And this is the most important thing that you can do for yourself, for your well-being, for your health, for your life, is to have that connection. And I know a lot of people, I've had readings with people that don't believe, and it's fine. You can go through life maybe being an atheist or being separated, and I'm going to tell you what will happen. You will come to that point in your life where you're given that choice when you cross over, whether you're going to accept God or you're not. And I've actually had atheists come through in readings, departed atheists, and they say, I can't even believe this. God is real. I don't know what my life would have looked like had I only tried that out, had I only, worked on that relationship, had I not only accepted it. So that love is infinite. That love that our departed loved ones give us is infinite. And say let's go here, because this is an interesting one too. Because say your loved one that departed hurt you and caused you pain, and you really don't want them around. I've had that too, where I don't care if I hear from her. I don't want to, don't bring my mother through. And I've had that happen. And, I'm not in control. That's the first thing I always say, who's going to show up is who's going to show up. So if your mom's going to come through, that's just what's going to be. And of course, in this particular reading I'm going to share with you, the woman's mom came through. But the reason why the woman didn't want her mom to come through was the immense physical pain, mental pain, and emotional pain that she had with her during her life. I mean, immense. Some stories that I can't even believe. They shocked me. So as I'm talking with her mom is saying, this is going to be really hard for my daughter to believe. One, that I chose God. And her daughter said exactly that. She's like, yes, my mom was such an angry, mean person. The second thing her mom started to talk about was the way she abused her daughter. She started to validate the pain. And some of the pain the daughter didn't even remember. Some of the things the mother started to bring up were buried within her. She wasn't able to fully speak them before until this moment. So I started to talk about the view her mom was showing me about, the daughter wanting to die at one point as a child. I think she was like 7, if I'm recalling right. And she's like, yes, I remember exactly that day. And she's like, I've never spoken about it. So she was with her siblings, and this trauma that happened, she ended up wanting to jump and die so that she would feel better and that the pain would stop. So the mom, acknowledging that pain, immediately was this miracle moment. This is love, right? This is pure love coming from the other side. She's admitting her fault. She's standing there and saying, I am so sorry. I had no idea how bad I was. Reflecting now and trying to heal. And that's what they're doing on the other side. They're not just saying it to say it. They're not just showing up and saying, I'm sorry, but they're doing it in a way to say, I'm healing, and I take that responsibility on so you don't have to carry that anymore. And I'm going to help you heal from this. I'm going to help more love come to you, abundant love come from you. I'm going to help create that space by allowing you to release it. There's a miracle moment. That's what a miracle moment is when we have been acknowledged. And can you even imagine that, right? Having that acknowledgement, what would that mean for your life? Think about that for a moment. What would it mean for the acknowledgement of your pain? So many of us carry a burden with us. Sometimes it's unspoken. Sometimes we don't really remember it. But we'll get there when we start to be still with ourselves. And that's what our loved ones tell us. They say, they're always saying, yes, meditate. Yes, be still. Yes, take time to love yourself, right? Take time to love yourself. I think that's most incredible, right? I talk about the universal truths that the angels have taught me, and one is that our souls are infinite, right? Your soul's here and it's with God. That means your loved ones, they're with God and they're here with you. There's no time or separation. So they can be with you and another loved one, because in heaven there's no time, there's no separation. So it's infinite. And the second universal truth is that we all want to be loved across the board equally. So even the people that cause you pain, they want to be loved. They might not know it, right? They don't know it. And so your loved ones on the other side, if you can offer them, if they've hurt you, if they've caused you pain, if you could send some love and forgiveness, tenfold will come back to you, right? It will help you to release. It will help you to heal. They are doing it on the other side. Trust me. If you haven't gone to a medium or you are not into it, trust me when I tell you, they want you to heal, and they want you to know that they support you and love you. They support you and love you, and you continue on in your life. And even if you don't want to have that continued relationship with them because of the pain, know that they are going to honor you. They are going to do their best, because that's what heaven's about. And you can do your best here. Pretty freaking amazing, right? I think it is. So I would love to hear from you. Any questions that you might have, you can head over to my Angels Don't Lie Facebook group and let me know what you want to talk about. Let me know your questions about this show, because I think it's pretty powerful when we're talking about that love doesn't die just because somebody else has died. Love is infinite. And what does that mean for your life? Does that change your perception now? Does that shift you and make you feel better? I certainly hope it does. So let me leave you with a little bit of angel love. A little bit of angel love. I'm going to pull one angel card for you. And you can just use this to help yourself along your day or night, wherever you are, as a little inspiration. And here we go. So this card, it's a really nice card. This card is talking about being loyal and dedicated. Loyal and dedicated to yourself. Loyal and dedicated to your life. Loyal to loving yourself. Loyal to the people around you. And it's also talking about honor, being honorable and kind. So it's a compassion card, and it's all around that love energy that we're talking about today. It's also saying it's time for you to take time to be still and get things done. So that means it's time for you to reflect on the business at hand, right, in the present moment, not in the future, and, check those things off your list. Take time, honor your commitments. Really beautiful. So take the time to do the things that you need to do now. Get them done, get her done, and you will release energy as well. And it won't burden you and carry you into a place of, why didn't I do that? Or why did I wait? Right? So honoring ourselves, honoring other people is really important. But you can't give what you don't have. So if you're not going to take care of you first, guess what? You're only going to deplete yourself if you just keep giving it away. And that's a whole nother show. So I hope you guys have a really blessed day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Come hang out with me over in the Facebook group. And you know what I know, because angels don't lie. Have a beautiful night.